Tony Be Talking Podcast. Welcome to Tony Be Talking Podcast. Tonight's podcast is brought to you by Misspell Inc., my homie Big Man clothing line. Check them out at misspell.com. That's M-I-Z as in zebra, S-P-E-L-L-D.com. Tonight's topic is called What's Beef? Okay, we have this common problem in our sun-kissed black community, trying to figure out why us black men and women cannot get along. Why our relationships failing? Why are we so divided? Why have we lost the respect? Tonight I have the pleasure of sitting down with one of my favorite married couples, my single homie, one of my homies that is a divorcee, Ms. Monique, my homie JD, a married man, and my single friend Marlon. I would like to hear from everybody's perspective on why they feel that we have become so divided.
Well, I mean, it starts from all type of shit. I mean, for me, you know what I'm saying? You could take it back. You know what I'm saying? You could take it back to like the government. You could start off with the government in the 50s and the 60s when they started all this, welfare. When they started the welfare program, and they wanted to keep the man out of the home, for the woman to sign up. I think it started from that, and then once it stemmed to women being more independent. You know what I'm saying? Getting into themselves, getting into the workforce. You know what I'm saying? Earning close to the same amount as a man, even which women still don't earn the same amount as a man. You know what I'm saying? And women are still under there, but they getting close to the equal amount. But I think all of that has a small play into it, into the household, because you got a lot of single households. You know, it's not a lot of. It's not a lot of, it's a lot of single parent homes instead of homes with mothers and fathers, like back in the 50s, where you had 60-70% of black families had their mom and daddy.
Absolutely.
Like nowadays, it's under 50%, maybe in the low 40s, high 30s. You know what I'm saying? That ain't good. That's drastic. You know what I'm saying? Half of the men is in jail or dead. And some of the women are out here dependent, men done left, or they done divorced early, moving too fast. So all of that whole conglomerate takes place.
I agree 200%.
So
I agree 200%.
I agree with you, but I think the decade that stick out the most to me is the destruction in black people, period. Aside from just the couples in the 80s. Like, I don't think we give enough gravity to what dope did and crack did in the 80s, and not even from the perspective of you got users that don't take care of their kids, but you got cats out there that's getting money now that can spread their royal oats all over the city, and now the goal is I want to be with somebody that got some money. You know what I'm saying? Crack took it was the great divide. Like it hit us on so many levels, and like now we dealing with the grandchildren of the cracker. So that's two generations that nobody raising nobody. You know what I'm saying? And now you got like a lot of, in not a great situation, but you got young boys that's not being raised by men necessarily, and not no shade towards a woman that raises a male. But there's a certain amount of stuff you don't have that male role model or that male person. You're gonna have to learn from the streets. It's just certain. In a mom can raise a great person. Don't get me wrong. But as far as a man, if you don't learn from a man, the streets gonna teach you.
I agree 200%.
But I think that it adds more to the filter that you are in that era, because and how that ever affected you in that filter. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The how old I was at that time. Did it affect me? A lot of people that came from crack houses or whatever had crack affect them. We still had the difference now is a community, a whole village raised me.
Right. Some people in the say like
even if my mother dropped because I come from my mother's an addict. So I'm speaking firsthand.
Right.
So even though my mom was an addict, I still had a village. Like that's why.
Yeah, and that's why I said that it's not necessarily, you know, a kid that was born to a, you know, to a mother, or maybe your mom got off into it after you was already born. A lot of it ain't that. You got to think of my brother. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. 3 of my older brothers sold dope, and so for a nice part of my life, that shit was an actual occupation. Like my brothers making more than my daddy, and so now I want to be like them. My brother got 5 girlfriends, and so the thing when they come in, how many girlfriends you got, bro? You know what I'm saying? And I got 3, 4, and lying or whatever. And so it come from that side, not only from that, but the mom that weren't, or the mom that weren't grounded enough when they did fall off to have people around them that to help support. Because a lot of times the kids went to grandma. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times kids went to the system. Most kids where I'm from, like if you grow up in a project, it's a lot of people around. Even though it's a project, there's a lot of people around that still care about you. So it may be, you know, Miss Pearl down the street there, see your mama off, come on in here. You know what I'm saying? See kids never get right. And it be like that, but it's a lot of them that wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot that pawn the kids off, and I'm not blaming them or nothing, because crack is much a disease as this opioid shit is. So I'm not putting it on that, but I'm saying when you leave and you put that kid in the system, don't nobody got compassion for that kid. If I know, you know what I'm saying, for every kid that you got a support system around to help, i.e. you, and I know a bunch of others, you know what I'm saying, and you see it all the time on TV, you know, kids graduate school amidst the odds. It's a whole lot more, you know what I'm saying, that don't. One of my uncles went to prison like 85, 86 for like 10 years for like 2 rocks. He was a smoker. You know what I'm saying? And one of his daughters in Texas, she grew up on her own.
And to go back on what you said about your brother with these 5 girlfriends, more than likely he was procreating with these 5 girlfriends.
Got mad baby mama.
Yeah, mad baby mamas. Piggybacking off of what you said, mad baby mamas. So you got these 5 women that you've had children with. You probably only really have one, you know, that main thing, the main that you really care for. You love children, so these are the kids that you take care of, and now the rest of them are on their own.
Yeah. Yes, but it's about, I feel like with that desire of that is the pride of a man. And yes, because I have, my father had multiple baby mothers, but we don't have that today. Like when I grew up, we were all together. You wouldn't be able to tell I don't even call my sisters my sisters.
I grew up like that.
Right, that's how my family is.
You understand what I'm saying?
None of me and my brother got the
So
same
my
kids.
father, it was about pride for him to be able, no matter how many kids he made, it wasn't about how many kids you made or how many kids you made with, because we come from tracks.
Right.
So having kids with multiple women, that's nothing new, or because we outnumber them anyway.
But
So,
over time, that structure been lost.
Yeah.
but that's in my eyes, it's been set up like that, but it's a choice. Like you have to, at some point, like how we know. You think we the only people know?
Advantages that you had over people with similar situations that didn't have those resources. Where would you say you first seen the divide, or where did it come from? You know what I'm saying?
It was, for me, it was more in the 90s. Because the 90s not only divided the man from the woman, it divided the child from the parent, because gangbanging came into play. So then when you started that, because I'm also the attack.
Right.
So when from me coming from a household that had addiction, because addiction is addiction. If you came up with a crackhead, an alcoholic, a person, whatever, a person that's gambling it all up, whatever it is, it's an addictive spirit. You know what I'm saying? If you come from that, me coming from that, and that's what made me go out, like, had me in the streets. You understand? Like, the addiction had me in the streets, but then it made me, you get a new family. You get this security blanket over you. So the division from your parent, it divides you all three different ways. You understand if that makes sense?
Because now you're being taught from three different perspectives.
And if you're not grounded enough, because at one point I wasn't grounded like this, believe me.
Right.
Yeah, I was out of control because I was in an out of control environment. At the moment, at the time, I didn't know that though.
Right.
Because when you sit in chaos, you all the time don't know you're an idiot.
And that's what I'm saying. Like when you, the fact that you came from a strong family foundation has nothing to do with the trial. You know, the trial that your family go through is the trial your family go through. You went through your life, and when you brought it back home, just because of that foundation, you know that was placed that structure. A lot of it, you know what I'm saying. The same here. When you travel out, you do your bullshit. You think you know everything, and you out here and all that shit. And you get your head busted enough times. The fact that you're able to stand on 2 feet comes from somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
What I'm telling you, it comes from that. The sense of pride comes from who you. If you know who you are, you automatically resonate pride. It's certain things you're just not gonna do. You understand? Have you ever been like, you want to do something so destructive? We all have. Then right now, and you be like, girl, my mama. Like for me, it's like, girl, my mama would slap me from it. You know what I'm saying? Like this spirit or having that much respect for my ancestors or my elders or whatever it was. And when you get it in order,
right.
That's what kept for me watching men. I was raised by men. That's what kept my father. He was like, I'm taking care of all my. I don't care what's going on. This is what I'm gonna be doing. Now they don't care about anything. They mama, they grandmother,
Just the lack of
know
respect.
that. Like if you don't have no pride or nothing in yourself, then in a way, what can you feel? I've talked to them. They don't feel like they even got nothing to give to us. But they still have them because you broke it.
Hold on 1 second, Jenny. Shadon, you was about to agree with Don. What was it you was about to say?
She mentioned the 90s, right? So I teach from this book called Eloquent Rage, and the author, Brittany Cooper, she says, like, look, man, stop, because it happens in my family. Man, when you gonna settle down, when you gonna have some kids, when you gonna start a family, right? But like, we gotta stop blaming black women for their lack of partner options, right? So what Brittany Cooper said is that I single-handedly blame Bill Clinton. Right, because the 1994 crime bill criminalized black men. They were already painted as the enemies of the state, right? And so it criminalized black men, so adolescent black boys, right? Whether it's the school to prison pipeline, whether it was just like the war on drugs combined with the crime bill, right? It was sending them to jail, taking them out of schools, taking them out of their homes, and that left us with no options, right, at an early age. So now those who fell victim to that, who are coming back around, they damaged, they traumatized, they walking around with so much baggage that it's hard to have a stable, healthy relationship because of that. And then they don't have a lot of models, right? Because something similar was happening in the decades before that, right? So BT started with what was happening in the 20th century. Boy, look at him. Sorry, we're going to have to edit that out. Big ass nose. But so he started there, and he's right. We do have to look at the government, look at the ways in which the government has been dismantling like family structure. Right? So some call the Dane Moynihan report, right? Moynihan was a sociologist who said, look, the black family structure is the problem with America because there's too many single-parent households led by mothers. We need a patriarchal system. And so that right there pitted black men against black women.
And
And we have become too masculine. I can speak on that personally. We have become too masculine. I am, I'm on the forefront of everything. Now don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? I'm a mother, I have children, so I have to stand 10 toes down in that way. But I will be honest, I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes me too masculine. It takes away from my femininity.
And
it makes you guarded.
It makes you guarded.
I agree with that. I agree with that, but here's the other side though, right? So the other thing is that, like, y'all remember Steve Harvey came out with that bullshit book, Think Like a Lady, Act Like a Man, right? One of the things he was saying is, black men, they have to provide and they have to protect, right? But that's an issue because America does not allow black men the capacity. They don't give them the capacity to both provide and protect. So what we have to do, as black men, as black women, is say, look, that's not all on them. We also have to provide, and we also have
Absolutely,
to
but
be
But,
proud. And we have
like,
so we gotta nuance our perspectives. We gotta say, look, man, like when George Floyd died, he was crying for was murdered. I'm sorry, he was crying for his mother. You feel me? Like America has emasculated black men, and they think it's us who doing it because we so independent. But we so independent because we have to be.
We have to.
And I feel like our
But-
interpretation of, like especially with women, like our interpretation of what independent is skewed. You know what I'm saying? Independent don't mean that you don't need no help from nobody or none of that. And I can say it's society, gotta be society that put that stigma on. Like in my marriage, like I really feel like my job is to protect and provide, you know, but with context. No, I'm not gonna bring every single dollar in this house. But like I tell my wife, my job is to create a space to where you can be able to do stuff without having to worry about, can I pay this bill?
Yeah.
Or is this going, you know, like you can bring something in the pot, that's cool.
Hey,
But
I
I'm gonna
gotta
put you in a position where you don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to do that.
I gotta get
With-
I get this on camera.
With
Like, where do I get one of them husband things from?
With that said though, I mean, you know, it's work. Like I learned, my daddy was a great father. Not so much a great husband. You know what I'm saying? Like he did, but the love, the family love, the basics of that was there. So I learned from some of the good things my daddy did, but I learned from his bullshit too. Watching my mama be salty, he got to leave and move and go somewhere because daddy acting a fucking fool. You know what I'm saying? And so I see this shit, you know what I'm saying, being observant.
So you learn from it instead of taking it and making it.
But it don't always go like
But
that.
the
You know what I'm
But
saying?
the issue with putting this unrealistic expectation on black men for them to provide every single dollar that comes in the house is that, for one, right, they occupy one of the highest rates of unemployment, whereas black women have more jobs than black men, but they low-level service jobs, right? But black men have higher net wealth than black women, right? So I asked my homie just a while ago, like, why do you think that is? He's like, man, black women, y'all trick y'all money, y'all got all kind of bags and stuff, and I'm guilty. We don't spend money on that type of shit. That's one thing, right? But also, like, black men don't understand that, like, yeah, we getting jobs or whatever, and we are more educated than black men, but we also, like, that's not translating to real wealth for us. So I don't think we look at a complete picture, right? So we expecting black men to be like this contributor to the household at unrealistic levels, but he can't do that because America has put this, you know what I'm saying, this glass ceiling on black men or whatever, and from decades and decades and decades, right? And like he's been disenfranchised in so many different ways, right? But we expect him to be that, but he can't be that.
But you know what? I feel like America has put a glass ceiling on just what a black family should be, period.
Yeah, no, that's
Because
That's
being realistic with the cost of living across the board, in my personal opinion, it's impossible for just one person to provide. You know, it's not realistic at all. You know what I'm saying? It makes absolutely no sense.
Maybe 35 years ago.
Maybe
40 years
exactly. But in this day and age, I don't think so. Because like you just said, you said you're not gonna bring every dollar into the house. So even if you are in a position, you know what I'm saying, because you gotta step outside of the box of what goes on in your house. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You gotta step like that whole middle class thing. It's no such thing as that. You either up or down. You know what I'm saying? So even if you think you're doing good, say for instance, okay, you got children.
Yeah.
Okay, how many kids you got?
2.
Okay, you got 2 kids. So, bam, you got everything mapped out on how you're gonna pay the bills this month. All the bills paid.
And
Okay.
then some bullshit.
Bullshit happened. Your wife on the way home, she lose 2 tires. Okay.
Right.
Your son, he just joined the football team. You gotta pay a fee for that. Your daughter wanna do state-to-state cheerleading. You gotta pay for that.
Right.
You gotta take all that into consideration. You gotta be real. All that into consideration.
And I think we can't just think of providing as financial.
Yes.
You know
Yeah,
what
of course
I'm saying?
not.
And
Yes.
so
Of course
from that
not.
perspective,
That's what I was
from that,
thinking,
but like my thing is, black folks ain't never had enough money to be basing their family off of finances. That's something that white folks they don't always have money. That's why you see a lot of times that they kill motherfuckers killing their parents, or it's a big ass hysteria. You know what I'm saying? When they trust funds and all this other
Money
different
don't
shit.
make you happy.
Black folks at the least, at our very minimum, we always had love. You know what I'm saying?
So
So
let me come to this, right? So in your household, and then I want to know y'all perspective in your household. What keeps you and your wife from being divided? What measures do you take to make sure that the respect is there?
one of my biggest things, like I thoroughly enjoy my wife being at home raising my baby. She has her own business. She has her own business, and I'm fine. If she want to go work, I'm fine with that. But I love that fact. But I try to make sure that my wife know that, listen, your job ain't lesser than mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm out here getting it, I need somebody to supplement me so I can keep getting it. You know what I'm saying? You making the sandwiches is a lot of times more than me bringing $1,000 home to put in this bag, because I need something to keep fucking going.
Yeah.
So everything you do, there's no greater, like, it's so much competition.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna bring this bag, and I'm gonna bring, listen, this is the squad, bro.
Yeah.
What you brought, we done brought in this motherfucker, you know what I'm saying?
To piggyback off of that, he is absolutely right with the, I got this, I brought this home, and I'm doing this. The minute you start doing that shit, you could cancel that relationship.
Agreed.
You might as well pack that shit up.
Better yet, for me and him, we rarely talk about we married or that's my husband. Like, Brian really is my friend. We were friends.
Friends first.
I didn't have sex with him or anything. We were friends.
I was trying.
Let that
So, at the end of the day, you have to like the person. See, a lot of people, you have to know what you're doing stuff for one. Yeah. Now, if you want something that's gonna last, you got to like them when you don't like them. Like, get this right. Men don't like each other all the time.
As a single man, chime in on this. You've been quiet over there, chime in on this.
Listening.
Go ahead.
But no, it's the truth though. You do have to know your partner.
Yeah.
I rushed to move to Texas, but I thought I knew her. But we was friends first up there. I don't need you doing all that. But I thought I knew her, but then when I got down to Texas, it was something totally different.
You know, they say you never know a person till you live with
But
them.
and that's awesome.
That's why I believe in shacking.
I do too.
Even like that, me and my wife was on and off for 10 years before, and she proposed to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you must be that good of a man.
So, it just, we was going through our shit. But I think.
Was it like, nigga, you gonna marry me or I'm gone?
Nah, it's just like we had got to a point where I was like, bro, I'm not gonna keep doing this, bro. You're not gonna keep making me, like, I don't like being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep doing this to me, bro.
You
That's
felt
the
that?
I'm gonna go, bro, when you ready. Holla at me.
Crazy.
Huh?
That he said that is because me and Brian, he asked me to marry him when I was pregnant with Brienne. But
Right, I didn't tell her to marry me
Brian,
first. A long time ago.
I wouldn't marry him because I felt like as soon as I got pregnant, he was like, we gonna get married. And he was, you know, he
I didn't want to have another
So
child.
he was like, I don't want to have another. He had been saying that, so now he.
So you didn't
gonna
think it was
get married.
authentic? You didn't
And
think
so I'm like, no, we're not gonna get married. And he looked at me, and I said, no, we're not gonna get married. What we're gonna do is have this baby, and maybe in like 2 years after that, if I still like you, because I don't know if I like you. And babies change things.
They do. Responsibility changes.
So I don't know if, for real, I'm being very honest. I didn't know if I was going to like him then.
Yeah.
So of course he gave me this look like,
What?
Because it's probably a different kind of love that you have for your child.
It is.
You know,
It is.
but I want to go back to something JD said, right? He was like, you know, providing always ain't monetary, right? So,
Yes.
y'all know I do the professor thing, but, like, so what she said in this book, Eloquent Rage, black men's cultural anxiety about the place of money in relationships is real and palpable. Another brother I dated once asked me, what do you want in a relationship? Well, I told him with an S on my chest, I don't need a man to give me money or pay my rent or buy me things. He said, well, what do you want then? He asked rather testily. I want a partner, someone who shows up for me, offers emotional support, and someone to share my life with.
And all of that
Hold on. He said with no hint of irony, you want me to be gay.
Tony B Talking Podcast.